Hey, everybody, we're back here with James McAvoy. In the opening, they kind of lay out essentially what the stakes of your character are and what who the major players are in the play. And the one thing that everybody knows about Cyrano, and here's a photo again from you. Here's a picture of you right there, is that Cyrano's got this enormous nose, sort of almost like a grotesquely large nose. And the director did not ask you to change your face in any way.
No, he didn't. No. No.
Did you take that as a compliment to your acting skill? Or an indictment?
I've never asked him about that, actually. Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, it's some crazy concept that he's got with no nose, and he's like, no, actually, we're fine with what you got. Oh, so it's not a crazy concept. Yeah, no, he was just, I said to him, when he said, how do you feel about doing Cyrano? And I was like, oh, great. And he went, I don't want to do it with a nose. And I was like, isn't it about a guy with a big old nose? He says, no, it's about a guy who's objectified. And he says, in more than that, it's about 3 people who are objectified. And the minute you stick on a big old fake nose, you just sort of reduce it to something fake. But then he extended it, and it was like, well, if we don't have a nose, why have we got swords? If we don't have swords, why have we got hats with big feathers in? If we don't have that sort of accoutrement, then why are we pretending to be musketeers? Let's just take it all back to its base thing. You're a soldier. What does a soldier do? He kills people, and he's obsessed with poetry. Just play that. Play that with all its truth to you. And that's what he did for the whole show. He's just let us be us. My Cyrano is pretty much just me, massively amplified in terms of his insecurity, his anger, his violence, his loneliness, and his longing. But we're all pretty much, by and large, just playing ourselves.
And for the people out there, I think most people know the story of Cyrano.
Yeah.
Like the basic story of Cyrano, one large element of it, is that Roxane and Christian are both these sort of beautiful figures who are seemingly in love with each other, but the poetry that Christian uses to woo Roxane is actually from the mind of Cyrano.
Yes.
Okay, that's the basic idea of that particular, you might say, game part of the story.
Yeah, it's one of the original love triangles, and it's almost slightly farcical at times as being really tragic too. I think one of the things that we highlight in this production that Martin Crimp, our amazing writer, has highlighted, and Jamie certainly has as well, is that as fun as it is, and as romantic as it is, and as tragic it is that certain people die in it, it's also actually quite manipulative and abusive of Roxane in the way the 2 guys treat her, whether they love her or not, and whether they're both lacking or not, and whether they're both insecure about their lack of lexical intelligence or a massive nose or whatever it is. They actually mistreat her to an epic degree. And the play has always punished them for that, because it's not her who dies. I'll spoil it for you, it's the 2 guys who die. But you somehow miss all that behind all the pageantry and the lexical gymnastics and the joy and the panache, this word that Rostand originally invented, panache, which is brilliant and shouldn't be ignored and should be embraced, but it somehow becomes too much about panache, and you forget the fact that these are people who kill people and who mistreat this beautiful, incredible woman who's objectified for just her beauty when she's actually so much more.
And Cyrano himself has so much anger.
So much anger. Thank you. Cheers.
Which is something that's something that I know from loving the play, but from your performance too. There's so much rage there in that character.
He's really, really angry. But I think his anger it's a response to the way the world treats him, but I think also his anger is a mechanism by which he keeps the world at bay. There's a whole amazing bit where he has to pretend to be someone else to buy time for the 2 lovers to go and get married. And he pretends to be this man visiting from the moon. And it's quite absurd, and it's a little bit surreal, but through it, by the end of it, he starts to realise and examine his own life and his own existence, and realises that when he's on the moon, this moon man, he can look at the world and the world is perfect, but he can only see the world as a beautiful, perfect place if he's removed from it and at a distance from it. The minute he's in it and with it, he has to live in the horrible world that it actually is, with pain and mistreatment, where women are mistreated and slavery exists and people treat people badly. But if he keeps himself distant from everybody, he can pretend it's a beautiful place. He can be the poet that creates the beauty. And that's partly what his anger is for as well, I think, is to, as much as he longs for Roxane and longs for this normal life, whatever that means, he's too scared to actually take it. Because that's the thing as well about the fake nose. You see so many of these fake noses, and really, I'm always like, that's someone's jam. Someone would absolutely take you to bed with that nose and love you and fall in love with you and get their kink on every night because of your nose, you know? You will find that person. And the fake nose, it sort of almost diminishes the sadness of his lack of self-worth that he feels for himself, regardless of what the world puts on him, you know?
Well, James, it was lovely to have
Thanks.
you back. Thank you so much for being here. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Cyrano de Bergerac opens Tuesday at the Brooklyn Academy of Music. James McAvoy, everybody. We'll be right back with a performance by Arlo Parks.